Hey guys, it's Troy, and you know, although I'm not opening with "Hey there," or "Hello, my wonderful pen friends," or "Well, hello," or I'm not singing I'm going down the escalator of life, I'm here. And by the way, that is an homage to all those guys. I have great respect, and I do watch their videos, and I've learned an awful lot from all the guys that I was just sharing their opening lines, and nothing but respect for them. And I hope you enjoy some of those guys, and hope you recognize some of those lines if you're following along with some of the pen community. So, here's the deal. Though I seem bright and chipper right now, I'm kind of suffering from the Chinese disease of dragon tail. I've been on a huge project. I know I've shared a little bit earlier with you guys on maybe some different videos that I've got a huge project at work, and so I've been switching between working during the day and being nocturnal, during the day and nocturnal. And this was only the first week of doing all the nocturnal work. So I woke up fairly late. I got to bed you know, late last night. Not as late as I did the first night we did the project, because it was a huge learning curve. Once we got over that, it went a lot smoother once we got some groundwork laid. So anyway, over the next month at least, I'm going to be working some crazy hours, and I had planned on doing some pen reviews. But I haven't had a lot of time to sit to plan, because a pen review does actually take some planning, and some research perhaps, and some gathering of pictures. But since my last pen mail video, we've had more pen mail show up. And I wanted to share what I've gotten over the past week or so with you guys. Some of it I told you I was expecting, and some of it I may not have mentioned. So let's get started with something that I rather liked, and I shared on Instagram and Facebook, and we've had some positive reaction to that. Out of a case like this, it's a plastic case, I got a pen. If you have been watching Fig Boot on pens at all, during the past year or so, he's had a couple of Wancher pens that he has been reviewing. Now, Wancher seems to be a Japanese company, and they don't make just the pens that you'll never be able to afford kind of thing. They actually do have pens that you can afford as well. And don't get me wrong, I'm not poor by any stretch of the imagination. I just not quite to the point of having exhausted playing with pens that may be lower and mid-range that I really enjoy. And I don't mind Wing Sungs and Jinhaos. I still enjoy those and use those, and will play with them and use them on a regular basis. And then, you know, I'll use Mont Blancs, and I'll use some of the upper-end Watermans, and I'm still looking at some other higher-end pens. But Wancher does make some pens that are, you know, close to the $100 range, somewhere in there. And I was able to get this one right here. Now, if you know anything about urushi and maki-e, well, this is let me look at my spreadsheet. In Oshita, urushi, maki-e, and this is a Wancher pen. So I got it. Beautiful pen. And by the way, I realized some guys had seen my pictures that I put up and said, well, it's kind of pretty, but it's definitely not for me. Well, I don't always buy pens just for me. Hint. So, but this is a gorgeous looking pen. So it's got, you know, a bird on it, and I'm trying to remember what kind of bird it was, but anyway, a nightingale, I think. But it's got the nice urushi lacquer on it. And the one thing I did not like about this pen is it came with a god-awful nib. It came with an IPG, or Iridium Point Germany nib. Now, it took me a while to catch on to what IPG or Iridium Point really meant and what it didn't mean. It doesn't mean it's from Germany. It doesn't mean it's a German-engineered Western nib. But they can still use the word Germany as long as they don't tell you it's not made. They don't say made in Germany. I'll tell you what, there's a good article on it. I'll try to put a link down in the description of the video that you can follow for an article on IPG or Iridium Point, Germany. You can also find it. There's another article on Richard Binder's website. There's an article on some other pen manufacturers as to what IPG does or does not mean. Now, so what did I do? I replaced the nib, because as soon as I got it, I wrote with it, I said, "Oh, that's ugly. That's an ugly, scratchy nib." So I happen to have some Knox nibs. I think I used the last one to put into that pen. So now it's got a very nice, smooth Knox nib that writes very well in that pen, and so it's a pleasure to write with this, as opposed to going, "Ooh, it's a little scratchy." Didn't really like it. So that came in Italics pen. Italics is actually a British brand sold through Mr. Pen. And I've seen Italics Parsons out there. They were very well reviewed and very well received. And I went ahead and found on Massdrop they had an offer for an Italics Deacon's Doodle. So I went ahead and jumped in on that Massdrop, and they had this stainless steel, and it's got a nice curve, nice almost not quite hourglass curve to it. But it's a good, solid stainless steel pen. And so I went ahead and got it. And the other thing is you could pick your nib. Now, I actually had someone in a Facebook group say that you buy Italics for their italic nibs. Personally, I don't like italic nibs at all. I've got some, don't like them, so I avoid them. I do prefer just a plain old, ordinary, very boring medium nib. So I went ahead and got this in a plain old medium nib, and it writes on the fine side. So I was a little surprised as to how fine this wrote, but it writes okay. It writes good. So I've got it. That was I've been using that quite a bit. And it was my pen of the day just yesterday. I used it all day long at work, and I've used it for a little while, and it writes well, just very much so on the fine side. All right, share with you a couple other things. I told you I was expecting some more Watermans. I went ahead and got those. Now this, obviously, I didn't order for myself. It's an inexpensive plastic student pen. I actually had to have this imported from the Netherlands, so it's not typically one that you would see here in America. The same with this. I may even have gotten this one from the same seller previously. So, these tend to be the student style pens from Waterman. I'm a big Waterman fan, so I already had this, and so this one was the same body style, same pretty much everything except the color scheme. So my wife will be enjoying this here very soon. She enjoyed, "Oh, I'm going to like the girly colors," and I said, "Yes, you can have it too. As soon as I ink it up and I do my pen mail video, you can have it." So I've inked it up. I've got a cartridge that I put in here. I got a bunch of Waterman cartridges that I keep, and it writes very, very nicely. It is a fine nib, but it writes great. I typically don't like fine nibs, but because it's a Waterman, I figured I'd go ahead and get it, and it writes nicely. I was very pleased when I inked that up after pen mail. This one showed up just today, in today's mail. So, along with it, though, I also got in a separate package, because it was a separate purchase, I got this one, and the Reflex. The name escaped me here for just a second, so it's a Waterman Reflex. It's another plastic Waterman pen. It is European. This also came from the Netherlands, or from Holland if you prefer. And it's got a very different style nib on it by comparison. So I have not inked this one up yet. I have not played with it yet. But a Waterman Reflex. We'll see how nicely this does for me as well. All right. Maybe this one's a little controversial to some people. Not to me. When you think of iconic magazines, gentlemen's, yeah, not really properly labeled, gentlemen's magazines, pornography magazines, the very first name, or the very first one to come along that hit the United States, Hugh Hefner, Playboy magazine. I'm not advocating Playboy magazine whatsoever. Don't get me wrong. but I did have the opportunity to pick up a collection that somebody was offering for sale. Playboy branded fountain pens. So you may not be able to see it, but I'll put up a few pictures. The Playboy logo is down here along the cap band. And I don't know who manufactures these. There is no branding whatsoever. The only brand that's on there is the Playboy logo, and when you look on the nib, you're not going to be able to see it probably very well from my pictures and what I'm doing here. But if you, on the nib, you may or may not be able to see it. There's a little bunny. If not, I got a close-up picture I'm going to throw up. There is the bunny, the Playboy bunny logo. Well, when I say a collection, that's because there were 4 of them that were being sold together in a collection. And they were very pretty pens. No 2 are the same. Clips are different. Finials are different. Clip styles are different. They all have the same Playboy logo on the cap bands. One of them's a lot thinner than the other. Others, they're all metal with lacquered metal finish. This one is kind of different in that it's got some variation and some swirl in it. All of them have the same nib with the bunny on it, but you can tell that they're all very different in how they look. You get the more classic, elegant gold and black, which I really like. Then you've got this one, which has actually a deep, or extremely dark blue with some swirl in it. This was red, and this one has the wood grain brown. So I thought that these were very pretty pens, and you know, despite the Playboy moniker, it's actually something that's of interest to me because it's iconic. Whether or not you agree with what the magazine stands for. So I went ahead and got that. Had a decent deal, I thought, on those because they came together in a set. So that's now in my collection. And one last one that came yesterday, and I have not inked it up yet. For a while, for those of you who watched me for any length of time, you may remember me talking about Birmingham Pens out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I've bought from them 4, 5, 6 times. And I've bought some Twisbees, I've bought some Knox pens, some Knox nibs, the one that I bought to put in that Wancher I showed you earlier. Bought some nibs from him, I got a bunch of ink up here on the shelf from Birmingham. You know, the bottles are about that big. I've gotten some ink samples. And Nick is the owner at Birmingham Pens. So I bought from him. I started sharing about it, and the next thing I know, well, I guess it really took a little while, but some of my viewers had been ordering from him. I've bought from him for when I did my 250 subscriber first giveaway. With stuff I bought from Birmingham Pens. For Christmas, we bought stuff from Birmingham Pens, about a dozen or 15 pens with gift boxes for giveaway for friends and family for Christmas. So that's how we did that. So I've been buying from them for a while and sharing about some of the inks that they've got. And so word's been getting out to some of you, my subscribers, have ordered from them as a result. And now other pen reviewers have started to pick up on Nick, and who had previously never heard of him, are starting to pick up on Birmingham Pens, which is a good thing. I don't mind sharing the word about successes, and Nick and I have had a little back and forth on some of the orders, and he's taken good care of me, so I've been happy. So Nick just recently had decided to start doing his own custom pens. And I'll do a full review of this eventually, but I wanted to share with this now for pen mail. He started to decide to turn his own, he and his dad together. So they came up with a Model A, which, you know, much like Henry Ford, can come in any color you want, as long as it's the cotton candy variety as opposed to being in black. When you get stuff from Nick, you can always expect some custom hand, I guess, TLC, some tender loving care and some stuff. From the packing paper, well, he'll take one sheet and stamp it with his logo. He'll have you know, little receipts like this that he is now doing for the pen itself. I've got number 6 of 10, so he'll print out stuff like that. And he almost always will print out and sign a note on his stationery, and he'll personalize them. So every time I've bought from Nick, he's done that. So he's trying really hard and puts in the effort, which I don't mind whatsoever. So I ordered his Model A. It is his first foray into pen turning, pen making, and he had an initial offer of 10 pens. I went ahead and jumped in on that pretty quickly, so I've got number 6 out of 10. And then he turned around and put for sale an offer for the next 100. And my understanding is, last I checked, that they were sold out for those. I can tell you that I paid about $40 less for the first run than where it was the second run, which included 100. And it came in a gift box like this, a nice wooden gift box. You open it up, and he not only included the pen, but he also included a bottle of ink and something similar to a Field Notes notebook. Here's a picture of that I'll put up on the screen real quick. All right, now that that's off, this is the cotton candy colored acrylic pen that I got from Nick over at Birmingham Pens. I pull it out. It is a capless pen. Like I said, I'll do a full in-depth review of this. Remember I talked about a Knox nib? He's got a two-tone number 6 Knox nib in this thing. I have not inked it, so I don't know how well it writes, but that is an initial look at the offering now from Birmingham Pen. So if that interests you, you can go to his website. I'll try to put that up on the screen for you as well. So that is my pen mail. Wanted to share that with you guys. Oh, and by the way, you know, something else I forgot to tell you is I've got some more pen mail on the way. And looking here at my list, I've got a 1950s Russian Soyuz Leningrad fountain pen that's on its way here from overseas. I've got a Jaffa Scenario that's on its way. Jaffa is the manufacturer for Monteverde and for Conklin. So I've got that coming on to me. I've got a Wingsung 618, a few more Wingsung 3008s, which I've already done a review of those. I've still got the Jim Hines custom pen that I actually kind of thought it was going to be here already, but it's not. So whenever Jim gets to it and gets it to me, great. I've got bids in right now on a Centro pen, another Platinum 3776, and about 4 different Mont Blancs that I've been doing battle, attempting to win over. So I'll let you know about all the ones that I'm doing battle in order to receive, but when the other ones come in, I'll share some of those with you as well. Maybe you got some ideas for your collection. You know, those Waterman pens I showed you, $6.50 plus like $3 to get it shipped from the Netherlands is not a bad deal. You know, always look for bargains if you can find them. Mass Drop occasionally has some good bargains, sometimes not so much. You just got to know what you're buying. And of course, when you can find an introductory deal like I did on the Birmingham Pen, jump on it, you know. Anyway, thanks a lot. Talk at you later, guys. I'm very thankful for all of you. Bye.